Okay, so we are just gonna go ahead and continue, and we're going to work on these straps over here. Now, they don't look too difficult, so basically what it looks like is, first of all, we would need to place 2 lines like this. Is it already the right... That might already be the right distance. I don't know. Should we like scale them out, or maybe scale them out like a little bit? So if we scale them out to 1.2 over here, just to remember that number, then do the same over here, click, and scale it out to 1.2. Just we have so many lines now that do remember where you have these placed. This one, scale it out to 1.2. And for this one, you of course need to then scale this flat. But when you scale this flat, because you scale both of them flat, they should still have the same dimensions. Here, 1.2, 1.2. Okay, so it's starting to get a little bit more difficult to see. So let's quickly select this one and this one, I believe. Yeah, this one, and this one. How's the width? That's good. Okay, so for these, all we want to do is we want to just create the width of our piece. So let's go for something like, let's make it a little bit wider actually. Yeah, let's go something like this. So 0.00, 0.01 pretty much. 0.01. There you go. Just to keep it even numbers. Okay, cool. So we got those things done. Now the next thing would be that we need to create just some quick lines so that we know where we can extrude this out. Maybe it's best if we already start extruding this just to see if it works, because we can add those lines later on. And we now have everything selected. So these selected. The first thing is that we probably want to deselect this one, because this one works a little bit different. So just Alt X and let's go to face select. Alt X and then deselect these specific faces. Because as you can see, that one, it just kind of like ends. So we do not want to do too much for that. Okay, so we got this one. Now the next thing would be to deselect these sides, because yes, these sides, yes, because we are just going to extrude this out, and then we are going to combine it with this. And now for this one, it's a bit more tricky. Let's do Alt X and just deselect these two. Yeah, that should do the trick. And let's do the same over here. So let's deselect these two, or these three. Yeah, that should do it. Down here, technically it doesn't go down, which it does in the reference, but I will lose my selection if I do that now. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and do that later on, because it probably takes me more time to re-add my selection. Yeah, it probably takes me more time to re-add my selection. So look at it from a good angle. Press Q, extrude faces along normals, and just give it like the initial extrusion. It's going to be something like this. And now over here, as I said, I kind of need to like re-add this. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to just press K. And I'm going to first of all place one edge here and one edge here, which means that I should be able to do like a Ctrl R. Oh, this face is breaking my Ctrl R, which is a bit of a shame. There's another way that we can do it. Not too difficult way. So let's select both, or all these four. Shift E to extrude it, and then right click to leave it in location. And then just move it, let's scale it flat, the ends, and move them all the way over here. Shift E. Oh, what happened? Shift E. It's a bit sensitive at this point. Move it down. And then Shift E and extrude this out. I'm just gonna move and hold Shift so that I can move a little bit more precisely, like that. And just delete these pieces. And now they are of course not connected, which means that we might benefit from simply placing a line on each side because I don't want to break the poly. Even though it looks good, I know that in the high poly this will become quite an issue. So I do not want to now at this point, after all this effort, start breaking the chain. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just merge that into this vertex. That should be enough. And I'll show you what we will do next. So merge this one into here. Merge this one into there. And this one into here. There we go. And first of all, do the same over here, because what we can then do is we can simply delete the bottom faces and call it a day. So for this one, I can see that it doesn't like to move straight, but that's no problem. Here, see? Like, yeah, you can scale it if you want, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to merge these vertices. So even if they look a little bit ugly, we are going to fix that. And maybe it was quicker to to just redo the selection. Yeah, so if you can hear that helicopter on the background. It's just flying over, I don't know why. But yeah, that's something I cannot control in sound. Okay, there we go. So basically, even if it was quicker, this is still good practice for you. So just go ahead and delete these bottom faces. Same over here. These faces over here, you just want to go ahead and delete those also. So these are like in the actual bottom of your, there you go, of your corner. And you want to do the same over here. Delete. Delete those. And now it's just a matter of going into target well toggle and start by selecting these vertices and just quickly like moving them to the side. And you only need to do the 3 because remember we moved the last one, we already merged it together. So doing this one, what you will end up with is as if nothing ever happened, as if we just extruded this out. So in hindsight, might have been quicker to just redo the selection. I didn't think it was this difficult, but I forgot that that of course your Ctrl-R loop, so your loop slide and cut, it has been broken by the geometry. And that made it a little bit more difficult. Else it was just placing one line, removing the back face and just merging it together. But that's just how it works with modeling. Modeling is flexible, so there we go. That is done. Okay, next step would be to create 2 lines over here, which we can then push out. So the first line where I want to start this straight will be probably around this point. Second line where I want to move it down is this point. And then for these pieces, let's say these ones. What we can do is, so straight and down. I don't know if these ones are already on the correct side. Of course, remember that we are going to later on turn this into a bevel. Oh, turn off target well toggle. Yeah, I think for now this should be fine. It might be a bit difficult to see, so what you can do is you can actually select these pieces. Down here and down here. And actually, you know what, before we select that, let's delete these bottom faces, because I don't think you will ever be able to see those. So delete them, because else we need to UV unwrap them. And if you need to UV unwrap a face that you cannot actually see and that you cannot easily select, it's just a pain. So here, just move this down. And once you've moved it down, then we can of course see that, oh, we overshot it. So all we need to do is just select this. Just move it back, and I'm just gonna move it like a centimeter in front. Like it's not, it's technically not completely part of everything, but there we go. Same for these pieces where we just want to go ahead and select them, delete them, select the outer edges over here, just move those down, and then go ahead and select these faces. Move it in. Select these corners, and these we want to just move down a bit more. Yeah, I think something like that. I don't know if it might be nicer for us to do like a Ctrl R like this and move these. I don't think so. I'm just gonna try, but yeah, I think that will be too tilted. I think it's best to just leave it like this. Let's go for something like this. So it has like this loop around here. How am I with this? Yeah, I think this should work. It has like a lot of interesting details over here which we will work on. But first, what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and work on this one. So this one is slightly different, because all this one really does is, let's see, it has these faces and then it has these top faces. Actually, let's also use this one. No, yeah, let's use this one. And then it just kind of like blends into the actual shape. So this one extrudes right away, meaning that if we just extrude this, so let's do Q, extrude face along normal, then extrude it like a tiny bit, and then immediately start moving this down. And this one we can just move down like this. Actually, let's just quickly delete those bottom faces before we do this. Here, so just push this down. And what this does is it goes in target well toggle, and then we just want to merge these directly back into the surface, like that. And now we can just select this, turn off target well toggle, move this down a bit more. And do the same over here where these two are moved up. Delete these bottom faces. Move this up completely. Let's go ahead and select this. There we go. Okay, so these extrude out. And they go in. And then if we just go ahead and do a target well toggle on here, we are going to merge this back into it. There you go, that should do the trick. Now, I do feel everything feels like it's extended out a little bit too much. I know this is going to be a pain, but I'm just not happy with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select this entire row over here. And I'm going to then turn off target well toggle, because else it's messed it up. I'm going to move this back a little bit. And move this back a little bit over here. Until it becomes quite even. And yeah, okay, fine. Let's deselect this because it looks like that. Actually, let's deselect only this, because it looks like I cannot properly move it back. So let's move it back like this. And then we just need to reposition the end over here. So if we also, let's go back to our top view. Select this again. Move it back. Just trying to like match it up. There we go. And then select this piece, and this piece we just want to kind of like reposition, and there we go. So that this line is straight and this line is straight. Yeah, okay. So it wasn't too bad to move it. But see, here, that small adjustment actually feels quite a bit better. I would say that these ones, maybe want to just angle them a bit more. Like that. Yeah, that should do the trick. And then maybe for these ones, I'm just going to select them and I'm just going to move them a bit higher. So it becomes like a smaller bit that is sitting here. And actually these ones I'm also going to move a bit higher, just so that this distance over here feels roughly the same. So this and this feels even. There we go. Okay, so we got those pieces. Now, as I said, we were going to do like a bevel. I'm not going to create like this gap over here. I don't really need that. But I do like that it has like some kind of an extrusion going on inside of here. So that could be something we do. For the bevel, however, what I want to give a try, I should say, because I don't know if it's going to look good yet, the bevel. That's something that we'll see. But let's just select these edges. Actually, you know what? No, we first need to extrude them. If we do not extrude these, it will just become more difficult. Because then over here, as you can see, it just kind of like cuts out of it. And I want to see if we can get the same thing. Now, for that to happen, first things first, I can see here that this edge is not perfectly straight. So I'm just going to select only these pieces, because those are all the pieces I need. And set this to 0. And maybe like move it back a little bit just to keep the edge straight. Once that is done, you kind of want to just select all these center. We cannot loop it because we do not want to select those edges that we have extruded. We just want to select these. So since I cannot really loop it, I can try to like drag select on some of these areas. Just to speed things up a little bit. Like that. Okay. So let's have a look. So the first thing would be for us to press Q, extrude faces, and extrude this in a little bit. The next thing would be to double click these edges and then deselect them, because the loops go a little bit out of the way. So let's deselect all of these areas, and we want to deselect them up until like inside this loop. So also deselect that little tiny edge over there. And think you know what I have planned. So I'm going to try to simply remove these edges. And when we remove them, so deselect them here. Hopefully what will happen, let's do Alt X. There we go. Hopefully what will happen is that it will just revert back to being a harsh shape. Got it? Yes. Control O, no. We also want this one. There we go. Control backspace. Does it? Yeah, it does work. Over here it has like a little error in the face, but we can fix that with a cut. But that does seem to work quite well. So these arrows over here, because there are too many vertices, what you can do is you can just press K and literally place a cut like this. See? And that fixes it. And we should be able to do that everywhere. And then this just becomes a... Okay, we're not... It doesn't like it over here. So it doesn't always like that we did it using this technique. In that case, let's see. Can we just like... What if we make these straight? So control back... Oh. Let's do target weld toggle. Let's turn it on. Let's see. What if I simply merge these vertices down into one edge? There you go. Has the same effect. Geometry will be less clean, but that doesn't really matter because geometry flow by this point is way broken for us to not do it by hand when we turn this into high poly anyway. But we're going to use the same technique for the high poly, that we do not apply our mirrors, but first turn this into a high poly when duplicating. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Didn't want to select that one edge. There we go. We are running out of time a little bit, so I will just see if I can quickly finish this. Because in case you haven't noticed, I like to keep my chapters below 20 minutes at all times. Come on. Yeah, and just when I say that, it doesn't want to merge together. Yeah, that's annoying. There we go. This one. And this one. Okay, and we will continue with this, of course, as always, in the next chapter.